Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. It's Anonymous T. Hope you're having an amazing day today. So today we have a controversial topic, you guys. A controversial and polarizing topic, but we need to discuss it. It wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be Anonymous T if we did not have this conversation. And unfortunately, as a diehard Big Brother fan, I have to have it. I have to have it because some things have happened for far too long to where we can't just ignore this, and action needs to be taken now before things get significantly worse. What am I talking about? I am talking about the white lash against the cookout. Yes, the white lash against the cookout. Because the best analogy that I can give it, not to get political, but to speak to politically what happened, right? Where we had 8 years of, former President Barack Obama, right? And as a result, a rebellion was forming, a Tea Party was forming, a different anti-Obama movement was forming, which ended up us, having division in the country, right? And people being more outward with their microaggressions and their coded language and the like against Black and brown people. And as a result of that, we had 2016, where people were so fed up by the time it was the end of Obama's presidency, and they were busy trying to, put people in Senate seats and House of Representative seats to counteract anything that Obama was attempting to do, that we then lead into 2016, and we have former President 45, aka Donald Trump, who is very different from your typical Republican candidate and was a lot more vocal on his views and different things that he had felt. And I bring this up because this technically is the first season since Big Brother 23 with the cookout. We had a celebrity season, but that really doesn't count to me because it's an abbreviated season. And kind of how the dynamics of the house went, it really wasn't a big deal in terms of who was aligned with who, because it wasn't that type of energy, because there was mixed alliances from the jump, because in some capacity different people knew each other. Like if there was going to be a cookout, then Misha would have never been a part of the finals, right? It would have been a final four of like Todd, Todrick, Lamar, and Cynthia, right? If there was like some type of sub cookout that took place for Celebrity Big Brother. So that's irrelevant. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because currently season 10 of Big Brother Canada is airing. And there were some rumblings a couple of weeks ago that I started to see. And I'm gonna, spoil a few things, but spoiler alert, there was a white gentleman named Kyle who kind of was with another gentleman named Marty. They were planting all these seeds and kind of feeding off of each other, that anytime the Black and brown people were seen conversing or talking together, they had it in their mind that there was a cookout alliance. Except for it wasn't. Except for at the time, not everybody that they were considering a cookout alliance could necessarily even trust each other enough to talk game. It was more so having the camaraderie, having shared experiences, having the shared bonds of certain things that they've gone through throughout their lives and their livelihood, that they have continuous conversations all the time. But in a game like Big Brother, on these reality shows, Black people can't be seen interacting, or it's a problem, or people assume that you are aligned. And so what happened was Kyle blew up his alliance, his majority alliance that was mixed with both white people and Black people. Blew up the alliance because he assumed that the Black and brown people, a part of that alliance, had a cookout sub-alliance, which wasn't true at all. They could barely trust each other. And he planted those seeds and basically segregated the House, basically had an active segregation based off of his nominations and his replacement nom and so forth. And then there was this other coalition that formed. There was this coalition that formed where people who are kind of playing the middle, like Kevin and Jess, but still making it a priority to make sure that they were always in the mix of what is going on with certain people in the House, right? So we fast forward to now. We fast forward 2 weeks later, right? And, you know, we're post Kyle's drastic and dramatic and dysfunctional HOH that we've now led into another HOH where pretty much it's made a point that even if there were White House guests targeting this particular HOH, that they were good with her. And that all of her nominations are going to be black people. Even if it's a replacement, it's going to be somebody black. And it is causing a very strong response on Twitter. And if you try to bring it up on Reddit, people downvote you to the smithereens. You can't have the conversation, or people will say, oh, you guys are complaining about race and blah, 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 blah. No. And it is escalated to the point that Hannah from the Cookout from last season's BBBUS 23 season has spoken out, has said the following, has said, you know, this feels to me that, I mean, black people are inevitably grouped together no matter where we are, but it's unfortunate that while the Cookout was historic and operated under the premise of unity, it may just be distorted as a justifiable reason for targeting people of color going forward, and that saddens me. So there you have it. There you have it. There's a lot of microaggressive talking today on the feeds about not knowing how to have a conversation with a black woman and that they're worried she's too aggressive and not sure how to be around her. Like, it's just disgusting, and I'm disgusted. But here's the thing. I don't like the misplaced anger and the misplaced blame of the Cookout, right? The Cookout is just an easy out, is an easy scapegoat, because this has been happening for 20 plus seasons. And so then somebody pointed out on social media, which I agree with, I think it's a great tweet, that basically they need to create a black version of Big Brother and forget it. Whether, and I think some people were replying, like, to put it on OWN or put it on BT, or put it on, you know, a black-owned network or a network that, you know, showcases a lot of, you know, predominantly minority casts. So maybe like Stars, maybe 50 Cent could pick it up or something and create the show. But it's not safe for black people right now to be on Big Brother. It's not at all. And we don't even know the ramifications of the last season of Survivor, when a mini cookout was attempted and blew up before it had an opportunity to thrive, right? So we don't even know if that's going to have implications of future seasons of Survivor. But I will say Survivor has a better track record of diverse winners and different people working together compared to Big Brother. And I just don't know where we go from here. Because Robin's a part of the casting. Remember, she got fired from CBS? She's a part of the casting for Big Brother Canada. And once again, we have a Frenchie situation. Those of you from BB23 US, where people are pretending to be woke on social media. This is the same strategy that Kyle was. And even to an extent, Jess is, you know, pretending to be woke, pretending to be for the people, pretending to be inclusive of everyone and all. And then the moment you get power, everything goes to hell in a handbasket. It was all fake news. It was all a lie. It was all to pretend to be cool with people that you really couldn't stand. And I think somebody even tweeted today, they were like, if you are black and you got selected for BB24, go on vacation. Do not go on the show. because it's awful. Just like we do not like how they have token black people on these Love Island shows and these Bachelor shows, to where they're there to fill a quota, or they cast black men who really aren't into black women, and then they pretend to be in these relationships with black women for, quote, optics, and then after a period of time, there's a breakup, right? And here we are now with the diversity increase, where it's supposed to be 50% people of color on these casts, to be more integrated, to have more diversity, to increase the chances of somebody who is not white, to increase black and brown people potentially winning the show. We have now resorted back to the beginning stages of Big Brother, where for no other reason than the color of somebody's skin, they're immediately being targeted. They are not allowed to play Big Brother. They are not allowed to be seen talking. And even if they're not being seen talking, it's assumed that they're aligned because they're the same race, except for that's not the same energy for white counterparts. Nobody is ever accusing white house guests of all being an alliance. It's all assumed. Unless somebody is actively, making it a point to work with somebody else. And it's so divisive now in Big Brother Canada, is that they're calling the people of color this season the other side, when there never was another side, until somebody planted that seed and fed their own paranoia to other white people to make it seem that there was a problem. And literally, Big Brother Canada just aired an episode where Summer, who's Jamaican, basically, was trying to explain to one of the White House guests, like, hey, there's a different philosophy. There's a lot of people suffering from slavery still. There's a lot of people who still have hatred, who still have microaggressions, who still are racist. There are still people who have not recovered from the civil rights movement and have certain viewpoints that they have passed on for generations and generations as a result. She's literally telling this White House guest that, hey, I can't be myself because people assume the wrong thing, or already, label a certain way, or already have, coded language, microaggressions, preconceived notions about things, and they just assume, oh, we're all together, so that means we're all working together. And it could be a completely non-game related conversation, conversation about their lifestyles, a conversation about their jobs, a conversation about school, their upbringing, their family, their friends. It could be about literally anything. And it's assumed, they're labeled, oh, they're all working together, they gotta go, they're too much of a threat for us, they're taking our game. They're taking our game away from us. And it's just unfortunate. I agree with the sentiment that we need a black Big Brother, a black version of Big Brother, because I don't see this ending well. I see moving forward people immediately being targeted that are people of color because of the paranoia of a potential cookout again. And even no matter how many times you explain to the house guest there isn't a cookout alliance, it's going to be assumed, as long as there's multiple people of color in the house. And it's going to go right back to most of the people of color being voted out pre-jury, so that there's no chance and no opportunity of them to even influence the jury or have any voting power if somebody that's a person of color is able to make it to the end. So I don't know where we go from here. Because if we cannot strictly play a game based on game reasons for wanting to vote people out and not because of the color of their skin, then we're never going to progress on Big Brother. Big Brother is going to be one of the same, and it's just going to go back to white men winning every season. And I'm just over it, you guys. I am honestly over it. I was briefly excited for the cookout until it sunk in that this is not going to end well, because there was so much negativity on social media during Big Brother 23. Even alumni telling people not to watch the season. But the same alumni were sucking up to the cookout the moment they were out of the house. Make it make sense. They were leading the boycott. But the moment they were out of the house, they were all in their face. And here we are. And I know, and already one of the people evicted, that just got evicted, that was responsible for the segregation, one of the people responsible for the segregation, do you think he's getting asked in any of his postseason questions, his postseason interviews, about targeting people of color? Do you think he's being asked those questions? No. But that's why I'm here. Because we need to talk, and we need to have the uncomfortable conversations. And we need to bring awareness that it's not fair to target people based off the color of their skin. And that if we are going to set this precedent, then there needs to be a black version of Big Brother so that we can kill all of the conspiracy theories. Because you can't accuse the black people of working together if the whole cast is black. You can't accuse the cast of having a separate cookout if the entire cast is black, right? Or the entire cast is people of color, or whatever, right? That can't take place. You can't just target them because of the color of their skin when everyone's black and a person of color, black or brown, right? You can't do it. But I feel like that's the only thing we have. There needs to be a spinoff. They don't have to call it Big Brother. They can call it something else. They can call it We're Watching You, or They're Watching Us. I don't know. They can call it something. And just remember to give Anonymous T credit for the idea. Because I do not see this ending well. And, pretty much, the person who's currently HOH today for Big Brother Canada, she basically said on the feeds last night and today, she reiterated that all the black people are her targets, and most of them are not even targeting her. Do not even want her to go. They think that they're good with her. Except for one person. There's only one person she legitimately has a reason to put up who's black. And that's because he targeted her first and he doesn't want to work with her. So that I understand. But her specifically targeting everybody else that's a person of color who does not have her on their radar is disturbing and is unfortunate. And we need to bring awareness. We have to continue to keep our foot on these people's necks, that this is not going to be accepted if this is how they're going to continue to cast on Big Brother. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Like I said, not everything is going to be for everybody, but I see where things are heading for Big Brother Canada, and it is not good at all. It is not a good precedent to set. So there's going to be controversy. There's going to be polarizing conversations that are going to have to be had because it is already ingrained to put out there that there is a sub cookout everywhere. And that everybody black and brown needs to go. And until that's erased, until we can get back to a reality show where people are allowed to play the game regardless of their race, regardless of their gender, we are going to have a problem. We are going to have a major problem moving forward. And the cookout is an easy scapegoat, but the reality is, this has been going on for 20 plus seasons. It just so happens finally certain people have a name and have an excuse that they can make a scapegoat for it. but it doesn't make it right. And we are heading down a very dangerous path where things are about to get a lot more tense, a lot more divisive, a lot more problematic on social media. If this is where we're heading, where we're casting people who are fake woke, who are pretending to be woke to consider, to pretend to be an ally to people of color, and then the moment that they get power, immediately target them. No. You can't have it both ways. See, that's the whole thing with woke and stan culture, is the lack of critical thinking, the lack of the intellectual process of your rationales. Because it's all good if you're a stan, right? And then you don't hold your fave accountable when they do something wrong or problematic or that's against what you believe in. Or you're only woke to an extent until you are the person that's in power and you do not want to see anybody that you're woke for have an opportunity to have that level of power that you have. Oh yeah, we are getting into it, you guys. We have to have this conversation because this is a very critical moment on where the future of Big Brother goes, as well as other reality shows. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think of now Black people, Black and brown people, people of color being immediately targeted now, and they're being assumed a cookout on these reality shows? What do you guys think? What are your guys' thoughts? Please let me know what you guys think. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I will talk to you guys again very soon.